I GoPro my performances every night. So I set up the GoPros, I go up on stage, I set up different angles for myself and figure out how many cameras I want to have out there that night and try to get the perfect angles. Once I find, I try not to get the same angles because I have a YouTube station, Paul Bostaph official YouTube station, and we've been posting videos up there. We haven't lately, but we have a bunch of performances from this tour, and I'm going to start posting videos up there as well, and probably on my website, PaulBostaph.com. I wear in-ears, so what's going on in my ears, I hear the guitars and vocals, but what you hear back, I don't have all that stuff blaring through my speakers, my monitors, because it basically gives our sound man more isolation with the drums in front of house. When I first started touring, I used to have this big PA behind my head. I used to wear earplugs, and I used to have those guitars so loud. My front of house guy started begging me, look, please, he's the one who turned me on to the in-ears, and what happens is those guitars are so loud, your overhead microphones are picking up the guitars, so when you turn the drums up, it just causes this, like, you can't get a really great sound that way. So the in-ears is why I use them. With Testament, it's probably a bit more diverse in terms of thrashing. They still thrash, but not every song is like super like thrash in terms of like me being busy as a drummer. It's more like in the pocket thrash. Now that being said, they have Gene Hoglan playing drums for him now, and he's taking it way over the top. But with Exodus, the challenge there was playing Tom Hunting's parts. Tom Hunting's one of the most underrated, legendary thrash metal drummers ever. Other guys have been getting way more credit than he gets, and that guy is probably one of the best, in my opinion. And his style is not an easy style to recreate at all. So playing with Exodus, the challenge was trying to make it still sound like Exodus and learn how to play like Tom Hunting, and that's not easy. Well, in terms of hardcore, I would say that the Undisputed Attitude record is pretty much my education, like in terms of really getting into it. You know what I mean? Before that, I'd listened to some hardcore, because being in the San Francisco Bay Area scene when I was growing up, that was part of, our scene. So I'd go and listen to all kinds of different bands, but doing that record, I'd say my favorite band to cover on that was probably Dead Kennedys, and I don't know if we did a Dead Kennedys song, I can't remember now, but anyway, the Minor Threat was probably my favorite out of all of it. I really liked their songs. That's a good question. I'd say there's a lot of similarities to it, but I did, through doing that record, some things carried over, like some things that the hardcore drummers were doing, and like it was kind of similarities between all the tracks we did on that album. It carries over into my playing now, and it was probably one of the best experiences I've had in terms of drumming. Well, the first time we played Turkey, we got to the airport, and we were in customs waiting for our bags, and our tour manager came in and told us, you guys got to stay here for a few minutes, and we're like, well, okay, why? And our tour manager told us that there were kids waiting in the terminal all day waiting for us. So there was, they had to get airport security to form this line, because between the door we came out of and the door to get out of the airport, it wasn't a big airport, but to get through to outside to where the bus that was taking us to where we were going to go to our hotel, they had to make this corridor, the security corridor. And man, when we came out of those doors, it was like Beatlemania. It was crazy. But that wasn't the crazy part. This is the part that gets crazy. We get in the van, It's got these. It's one of those like big, I don't know, airport commuter buses kind of. That's what it looked like, but it was a van. Anyway, big windows on the side. So we pull out of the airport, and then we pull up, and there's a stoplight, and here we are at a stoplight. All the kids know. They're probably about, I'd say, 100 yards away, maybe a little more than that. So the kids see the van again, so they start running for the van. And here we are stuck at a stoplight. And me and a couple of guys are looking. I think Tom was looking, and his brother. We're just watching these kids run up to the bus. And just as we started taking off, this one kid, like there was a couple kids that had already gotten there, and they were crying and had their hands against the window. And this one kid, like just as the bus was rolling away, he sees it rolling away. So he, at full speed, I've never seen this in my life, he jumped at the window, and he hit the window. It was like one of those old Merry Medley cartoons, like, you know, when you see Daffy Duck hit the glass, it was like, and this kid just, and as he's running, and when he jumped, he yelled Slayer, and he hit the glass like face like this, and he just literally slid down the glass out of view, and then he kind of got up and he was doing this, and I mean, me and Tom and his brother, I never laughed so hard in my entire life. It was awesome. I'm the kind of person who likes to get stuff for free, but I like to buy the music that I listen to because the artist created it, and they took their time and effort to make it, you know. And you know, if I grab that music for free, then I'm not stealing from them, but I'm not giving anything back for what they gave me. But you know, I mean, I think what it comes down to now is playing live, and I think that's a good thing, because if you're a really good live band, people are going to come see you. I mean, if like 1 million people had our record, you know, but we didn't sell 1 million records, that's still like 1 million people that at one time or another probably would come see us play, you know. But if you're great in the studio and you suck live, that's probably going to be a problem nowadays. But I don't think we have that problem. Well, I grew up in the 70s, you know. So I tend to, I was listening to, I have a bunch of different Pandora stations. So I was listening to, one of my favorite songwriters is a guy named Jeff Lynne. He was the lead singer for ELO. And he's, throughout his career, has written and produced so many great records. So I have a Pandora Jeff Lynne station. And you know, you can customize it by liking and not liking stuff. It's way too many Beatles on there. I like the Beatles, but not when I listen to that. So now it's like all these 70s tracks are coming up, you know, from hits when I was on the when I was a kid. So it's kind of like I was listening to 70s radio today. I think so, yeah. Yeah, vinyl's rad. I mean, I think people forgot. You know, they got the oohs and ahs of CDs. You know, yeah. The thing about vinyl is you get the artwork. You know, you've got this. You know, I think it brings back the artwork to a record too. Like, you know, Iron Maiden Killers. You look at that album cover, you're like, that's awesome. When I was a kid, I remember looking at that, going, this is I want a tattoo of that. You know, I never got a tattoo of it, but yeah, and you get the vinyl, and you know, there's nothing like the sound of a record. It sounds awesome. Yeah, actually, recently, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Dave Matthews Band. I just don't like the guy's voice. However, that doesn't mean they're not a good band. But Carter Beauford Jr., I've been listening to him lately, and he's just, that guy is just insane. And I love his drumming. It's like creative, it's tight, it's groovy, and he throws double bass in there very tastefully. I really love the way that guy plays. I've been listening to a little more jazz, just a little more. Basically Slayer. It's just been Slayer, Slayer, Slayer. You know, before I go on stage, I don't listen to anything but Us. Do I have any experience with that? Yeah, I mean, everybody who's toured or been in a band has had experience with something that's happened in Spinal Tap. I mean, the drummer that spontaneously combusts all the time, I've been that guy. So, you know, I believe me, I get it. Well, with Slayer, I think it's different for every band, but you get, like, if you're a good thrash band, you're going to get a great reaction. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, you know, Exodus fans, the Exodus fans and Slayer fans, you're probably going to see Exodus fans at a Slayer show and vice versa. So I can't say that there's too much of a difference. I mean, when you play the right song, the fans are going to go off. I mean, you know, I would say, you know, there's no difference. I mean, I think that Thrash fans are Thrash fans.